Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual. My name is Utsav Parekh and here are the top stories of the day. Multiple attacks took place in the US yesterday. At least 15 people have been killed and 35 left injured after a truck rammed into pedestrians in New Orleans. The assailant has been identified as Shamsuddin Jabbar. He's a US Army veteran. He was killed in a shootout following the attack. Local authorities say they have discovered weapons, explosives, and an Islamic State flag in his truck. The attack is being investigated as an act of terrorism. Meanwhile, a Tesla Cybertruck exploded outside a Trump hotel in Las Vegas. At least one person was killed and 7 injured. The police found firework mortars and camp fuel canisters in the Cybertruck. The targeted hotel belongs to U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. The current U.S. President, Joe Biden, said that an investigation was underway to find any links between the Tesla explosion and the New Orleans attack. At least 11 people were injured in a mass shooting yesterday outside a nightclub in New York. The New York police said that none of the victims were in a critical condition. The club was located in the Queens neighborhood. It was reportedly hosting a private party in honor of a known gang member who died last year. There were around 80 people outside the nightclub when the incident took place. A gunman killed at least 12 people in the nation of Montenegro yesterday. The attack took place in a small town called Sentish. A 45-year-old man called Alexander Martinovic killed people at several locations. He shot himself and succumbed to his injuries after he was surrounded by the police and asked to surrender. Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, has warned that his country's forces will intensify the bombing in Gaza. He reiterated Israel's demand for the release of hostages taken by Hamas during the attack on October 7, 2023. Katz's warning comes amid ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas. Israel's former defense minister, Yoav Gallant, has resigned from his country's parliament. Gallant was removed from the defense minister's post in November. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu removed him, citing trust issues and months of disagreement over the Gaza war. Gallant was replaced by Israel Katz, who earlier served as the country's foreign minister. Gallant has now resigned from parliament, but he says that he will remain a member of Netanyahu's Likud party. The Yemen-based Houthis claim to have destroyed an American MQ-9 Reaper drone. They say they shot it down in Yemen's central province of Marib. The Houthi spokesperson said that it was the second American drone that they shot down in the last 72 hours. The Houthis have made these claims after the U.S. military said it launched strikes against the group. At least 2 people were killed by a Russian drone in Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. At least 6 people sustained injuries. The drone strike damaged residential buildings. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said that even on the occasion of the New Year, Russia wanted to hurt Ukraine. A Syrian delegation is in Saudi Arabia for talks. This marks the first foreign visit by Syria's new leaders after rebels ousted President Bashar al-Assad. The Syrian delegation was headed by the new foreign minister and defense minister. These were appointed by the rebel-led interim government. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has sent out a message to his regional allies. He spoke about Lebanon and Yemen. He called them symbols of resistance and said that they will triumph over their enemies. Khamenei also said that the U.S. will be forced to leave Syria and that American bases there will be trampled. Iran is set to hold nuclear talks with France, Britain and Germany on January 13th. The talks will take place in Geneva, Switzerland. The 3 European countries recently accused Iran of growing its stockpile of high-enriched uranium to unprecedented levels. They also raised the possibility of reimposing sanctions on Iran. India and Pakistan exchanged a list of nuclear installations and facilities yesterday. The exchange took place under an agreement that obstructs both nations from attacking each other's atomic installations. India and Pakistan also shared lists of civilian prisoners and fishermen under each other's custody. New Delhi shared names of 381 civilian prisoners and 81 fishermen, while Islamabad shared the names of 49 civilian prisoners and 217 fishermen believed to be Indians. The city of Bhopal in central India got rid of 337 metric tons of toxic waste from the Union Carbide pesticide factory, 40 years after the gas leak from the manufacturing unit killed over 5,000 people. A 250-kilometer green corridor was created to transport the waste from Bhopal to Pithampur town for disposal. The South Korean police raided the offices of Jeju Air and the operator of the Muan International Airport on Thursday. The raids were conducted as part of the probe after 179 people died due to a fatal crash of a Boeing plane on December 29th. The flight, carrying 181 passengers, landed on its belly, killing everyone except 2 flight attendants. Bangladesh is reportedly rewriting its textbooks in school. The new books reportedly state that it was former President Ziaur Rahman who declared independence in 1971. Earlier, the book stated that Mujibur Rahman, popularly known as Bangabandhu, made the declaration. The textbooks have also removed his title as Father of the Nation. In climate news, England's Manchester City faced severe flooding after heavy overnight rain on the first day of 2025. The water submerged roads and left vehicles abandoned across the northern English city. Drone footage captured the scale of the deluge, showing cars partially submerged in water. Local council workers scrambled to clear drains and mitigate damage. Lebanon ushered in the new year with a heavy snowstorm that blanketed Mount Lebanon in white. The snowy weather pushed temperatures below freezing. The thick snowfall also resulted in road closures near the mountains. Authorities deployed bulldozers to help clear the snow. Brazil's Amazon rainforest faced its worst fire season in 17 years in 2024. There were over 140,000 fires recorded. This is according to satellite data from Brazil's National Institute for Space Research. This marked a staggering 42% increase compared to 2023. It was also the highest number since the year 2007. The fires, fueled by a prolonged drought, and worsened by human-induced climate change. China experienced its warmest year on record in 2024. The national average temperature reached 10.92 degrees Celsius. This is 1.03 degrees Celsius above the historical norm. This is according to the China Meteorological Administration. This marked the hottest year since record-keeping began in 1961. India also recorded its hottest year on record in 2024. Temperatures were above the long-term average from 1991 to 2020. Prolonged and severe heat waves swept the nation, with temperatures exceeding 45 degrees Celsius in multiple regions. The extreme heat was part of a global pattern of unprecedented climate-driven weather events. In business news, oil prices rose on the first trading day of 2025. The rise came as investors eye the Chinese economy's recovery and fuel demand. Hopes for recovery stem from Chinese President Xi Jinping's New Year promise to promote growth. Brent crude futures rose by 17 cents to $74.82 a barrel. Meanwhile, U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures gained 19 cents to $71.91 a barrel. BMW and Yamaha Motors have invested in an American startup called Phoenix Tailings. The investments in rare earth processing in the rare earth processing startup is a bid to boost production of the strategic metals outside China. These metals are used in producing electric vehicles, cell phones, and other electronics. The sales of Chinese car maker BYD jumped at the end of the year. The sales jump has pushed BYD closer to the title of the world's best-selling electric vehicle maker of 2024. BYD sold 1.76 million cars last year, with 207,700 cars in December alone. China's factory activity in December grew at a slower pace than expected. A private sector survey showed the slower growth, owing to the falling export orders amid trade outlook concerns. China-based Alibaba Group Holdings Limited is set to sell its stake in the hypermarket chain Sun Art Retail Group. Alibaba's majority stake will be sold to the Chinese private equity firm DCP Capital. The deal has been finalized for $1.58 billion. Alibaba bought a controlling stake in Sun Art for $3.6 billion in 2020, hoping to further leverage its digital presence to back a hypermarket chain. The shares of Maruti Suzuki India Limited witnessed a jump for the third straight session. The stock is up by 4.81% on the NSE. Meanwhile, on the benchmark Nifty, it's up by around 1.29%. The Sensex gained by 1.25%. Maruti Suzuki India Limited has gained around 4.15% in the last 1 month. According to a private sector survey, South Korea's factory activity reported a fall in December 2024. The Purchasing Manufacturers Index for manufacturers fell to 49.0 last month from 50.6 in November. This was due to pessimistic sentiments in manufacturers owing to the uncertainty over US trade policy and domestic politics. Nigeria is set to form a national credit guarantee company. Starting in May this year, the company will lend money to individuals and businesses. The announcement was made by Nigerian President Bola Tinubu yesterday. The move is aimed at expanding credit access. Malaysia's communications regulator granted Tencent's WeChat and ByteDance's TikTok licenses to operate in the country. The permission was given under the new social media law. The law makes it mandatory for social media platforms having more than 8 million users to obtain a license in Malaysia. Apple is offering rare discounts on iPhones in China. The offers have a rebate of more than $68 on certain products, including the flagship iPhone 16 Pro model. The scheme, running between January 4th and 7th, is being seen as Apple's bid to defend its market share. This is as the US tech giant faces rising competition from domestic Chinese rivals. Moving to sports, we begin with cricket. Sri Lanka beat New Zealand by 7 runs in the third and final T20 international of the ongoing series. Sri Lanka put into bat first, scored 218 runs for the loss of 5 wickets. Kusal Perera hit a century and made it 101 runs of just 46 balls. In response, the hosts managed to score 211 runs. New Zealand won the T20 series, though, 2-1. In Sydney, Indian and Australian cricketers attended a New Year reception hosted by Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and his fiancée Jodie Hayden. The Australian Prime Minister praised Indian star pacer Jasprit Bumrah and described his performance as deeply exciting. India and Australia will play the 5th and final Border Gavaskar Trophy Test in Sydney starting tomorrow. Indian fast bowler Jasprit Bumrah scripted history in the ICC Test rankings. The world #1 Test bowler went past his former teammate Ravichandran Ashwin to become the highest-rated Indian bowler. Bumrah now has 907 rating points, surpassing Ashwin's previous high of 904 points. Meanwhile, reports say that batter Rishabh Pant may be axed from India's Test squad for the 5th and final Border Gavaskar Test. The wicketkeeper batter has scored just 154 runs in the ongoing Test series. Pant's dismissal in the Melbourne Test drew massive criticism, most famously from Indian cricket great Sunil Gavaskar. In football, Arsenal secured a 3-1 win over Brentford in the Premier League. This is after trailing 1-0 in the first half. Arsenal's Gabriel Jesus equalised in the 29th minute. Arsenal then added 2 more goals from Gabriel Martinelli, and Gabriel Martinelli scored the winner. With this win, Arsenal have moved to second behind table toppers Liverpool. Marcus Rashford has denied reports of seeking new representation to leave Manchester United. Rashford confirmed on Instagram that his agent status remains with his sibling. The 27-year-old termed the reports of him approaching a sports agency as ridiculous. Goalkeeper Gabriel Slonina returned to Chelsea after his loan spell at Barnsley. The Blues officially confirmed his return. In a statement on social media, Slonina said that Barnsley will hold a special place in his heart. Britain made it to the United Cup quarter-finals. This comes as Katie Boulter beat Australia's Olivia Gadecki 6-2, 6-1 in their last group stage match. The Brits finished on top of their group by winning the greatest percentage of sets. In chess, Magnus Carlsen denied match-fixing allegations over the joint title win in the World Blitz Championship. This comes as a backstage video of Carlsen suggesting to play short draws went viral. Carlsen described his backstage remarks as a bad joke made in jest. Carlsen and his Russian rival Ian Nepomniachtchi shared the World Blitz title with mutual consent and FIDE's approval. Indian Grandmaster Arjun Erigaisi retained his 4th spot in world chess rankings. Erigaisi is closely followed by newly crowned world champion Gukesh Domaraju at the 5th spot. Magnus Carlsen remains on the top, followed by 2 American grandmasters at numbers 2 and 3. In entertainment news, Justin Baldoni has accused actor Ryan Reynolds of bullying him in a lawsuit. The case accuses Reynolds of outright berating Baldoni during a January 2024 meeting at the former's house. The lawsuit describes the Deadpool star's behavior as bullying. This comes after actor Blake Lively sued Baldoni for sexual harassment. The legal troubles for Sean Diddy Combs are mounting, and so are the delays in lawsuits. Currently held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, the rap mogul is reportedly refusing to leave his jail cell. This is causing delays in the multiple sexual assault lawsuits against him. The legal team requested a postponement of scheduled January conferences to February, citing the defendant's non-compliance as the key reason for the delays. Starting on January 1, 2025, literary classics and beloved characters like Tintin and Popeye have become the property of the public domain in the US. This is happening after 95 years of copyright protection. These works will now be free for everyone to adapt, share, and build upon. These additions join past icons like Sherlock Holmes and Mickey Mouse in the ever-expanding cultural playground for creators. Jennifer Lopez is proving that she's a force in Hollywood. Her new sports drama, Unstoppable, is earning rave reviews. However, Lopez says that her best work is still ahead of her. Unstoppable tells the real-life story of Judy Robles, a mother who raised her son Anthony Robles, a college wrestling champ with one leg. The Jonas Brothers ushered on their 20th anniversary with a big bang. During a performance, they teased big plans for 2025. Among their revelations was a collaboration with Marshmello, dropping on January 17th. And there was also Nick Jonas's Broadway return in the last 5 years. Neil Young, a Canadian-American singer-songwriter, has pulled out of the 2025 Glastonbury Festival. He has cited concerns about its increasing corporate influence. In a statement, the rock legend lamented the event's partnership with a media house. He described it as a departure from the festival's original ethos. Mark Wahlberg has traded his usual hero persona for a menacing turn in Mel Gibson's thriller Flight Risk. He's playing the role of a psychotic, balding hitman. In the film's trailer, Wahlberg goes head-to-head with an FBI agent on a perilous Alaskan flight. The trailer teases high-octane action and Wahlberg embracing his villainous role with relish. The film is set for release on January 24th. The makers of In Love Me released its trailer. The video shows Kristen Stewart and Steven Yeun exploring love and AI in a post-human world. The film spans billions of years with Stewart as a buoy and Yeun as a satellite, navigating what it means to be connected in a world shaped by technology. Rihanna revealed that 2024 was an alcohol-free year for her, a decision she shared in a casual yet celebratory New Year's Eve Instagram post. Ringing in 2025 in New York City with A$AP Rocky and friends, the singer-entrepreneur reflected on her milestone. The reason for her abstinence remains personal. In another year of underwhelming progress, women directed just 16% of 2024's top 250 grossing films. This is according to the San Diego State University's latest report. This marks no improvement from the previous year, where their representation fell to 11%. The data highlights Hollywood's snail-like progress in addressing gender disparities. That's all for this episode of Fast and Factual. Thank you for watching and stay tuned to Firstpost.
It's over! He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance.
Hello and welcome to the very first episode of First Sports 2025. I'm Rupa Ramani and here's wishing you all a very, very happy new year. Let's get things started. Yes, on the show today is Indian cricket on the cusp of a massive upheaval. Will Captain Rohit Sharma retire from Test cricket at the end of the series? The last test is in Sydney. There's plenty of unrest in that Indian dressing room after that humbling loss at the boxing test in Melbourne. It's not been a very, very good start to a new year for the Indian cricket team. What can we expect from this front? Meanwhile, chess world is rocked by the Magnus Carlsen and FIDE standoff. FIDE seems to have found some of its voice after the World Rapid and Blitz Championship got over. But the truth is, FIDE relaxed its dress code rules for Carlsen alone. Has this episode proved FIDE to be spineless? And will they look to do some damage control? And there has been fresh criticism for the Paris Olympic medals that were handed out to their winners. The newest to attack the country are French medalists. More on that in the show. But first, a look at the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with football, Inter Miami and Argentina captain Lionel Messi has launched IPO for his real estate investment trust in the Spanish market. The company owns 7 hotels, commercial real estate properties and houses. It is valued at $232 million and the share price was set about $60 on the opening day. Over in tennis, Novak Djokovic made a winning start at the Brisbane International Singles event. The top seed beat Australia's Rinky Hijikata 6-3, 6-3 in straight sets. But in the doubles category, the Serb suffered a heartbreak. His campaign with Nick Kyrgios ended after suffering a straight set defeat in the round of 16. In news from cricket, Indian cricketer Ayush Matre became the youngest player to score in excess of 150 in men's List A match world over. Matre, at 17 years and 168 days, surpassed Yashasvi Jaiswal, who achieved this world record at 17 years and 291 days in 2019. While playing for Mumbai in Vijay Hazare Trophy match against Nagaland, Matre scored 181 of 117 deliveries. The World Bowls Tour, or the WBT, has taken a U-turn over banning Israeli players from competing at next year's World Indoor Bowls Championships. The ban was imposed by WBT following a campaign by pro-Palestinian groups. Yesterday, WBT confirmed 3 Israeli players would be free to compete and issued an apology for imposing the ban. And rounding it off with news from chess. In a bizarre incident at the World Blitz Championship, a Russian grandmaster, Daniil Dobov, lost his match after he accidentally fell asleep and failed to show up on time. Dobov was scheduled to face Hans Niemann, who accused the Russian of skipping the match on purpose. Is it the end of the road for India's World Cup winning captain Rohit Sharma? Speculation is rife of the Indian men's cricket team captain walking his last steps in Test cricket. And it was bound to come to this because any loss